What's in the cards and the stars ahead this week for you? Let's tune in and find out. Hello and welcome. I am so excited that you are here. You're tuning in. I'm going to make sure that you can hear me in all of the places. In the meantime, as you jump on, say hello. Let me know where you're watching from, where you're listening from. This is a week of cosmic reset. It is a chance for you to really go big. We'll talk a little bit more about that with Jupiter meeting up with the sun in the heavens above and the new moon in Cancer. And if this is your birthday season, if you're a Cancer, pop that in the comments below. I love to find out who's having birthdays in our community so that we can celebrate you. And hello, Julie. So glad that you made it live. Yay. And it looks like I can go live over here as well. So welcome. Let's go ahead, place your hand on your heart and bring your awareness into your heart space. And as you tune in to your breath, soften the soles of your feet and just encourage beautiful roots to grow from them deep down into the earth so that you become more present and you can really hear the message that's meant for you. And anything that's in your space that isn't serving your highest, imagine flushing it out to the earth where it can be recycled into something of great beauty. And then fill up with a beautiful golden light. It's an energy of neutrality. It's an energy of coming home. And now in this space, I'm going to just ask on behalf of you all watching now and later, what's most important that you need to know as you go into this week ahead. I'm going to see. The Hanged Man. So this card is always a fun one because this is a card that sometimes can represent frustration. We just want to go. We want to move forward, but we're feeling stuck. We're feeling like no matter what we do, we're not making any progress. When this moment comes up, especially the Hanged Man, it's saying, take a moment to pause. There's something bigger going on that you can't quite see yet. And I see this card and I kind of think of it like the mom arm. If you ever were in a car, whether it was your mom or maybe you're a mom, and you have to hit the brakes fast, and whether it's your food or your bag on the seat or a child or a fur baby child, you're like, oh, wait a second, I had to slam the brakes. Hold off. This is dangerous. Don't go yet. Sometimes I see this card like that because this is saying something bigger outside of yourself is forcing you or encouraging you slow down, pause, and it's not letting you move forward. Something beyond yourself has to line up before the momentum will go forward again. In the meantime, while you're waiting, you're being encouraged to change your perspective. So she's hanging upside down. And this symbolism I love from this deck, the Light Seers deck by Chris Ann. This is really inspired by Thor's father, Odin, when he went out to the Yggdrasil tree. I can't say that. And he hung upside down and he discovered the runes. So there are moments of incredible intuitive breakthroughs this week if you are willing to shift the way that you're looking at things. If you are open to stop the pushing and the forcing, like if I just try harder, it'll work. If I just do it more, if I stay up longer, if I put everything into it. This is saying pause. Now, what I love about this card coming up to at the very beginning is that we're going into a huge, well, we are moon void, of course. Hello, Hannah. Great to have you. And when we have a moon void of course, what happens is basically the moon's not talking with any other planets in the heavens above. She's just kind of floating. She's like, I'm just, I'm taking a break from work. I'm just kicking back. I'm just here. I'm not doing much of anything. She's at rest. And we're being encouraged to do something similar. Now, when we're living in the modern world and we have to get work done, it can be frustrating. Like, I've got things to do. I've got to go places. I've got meetings. But the moon void, of course, is saying this is a time for daydreaming, journaling. It's Monet time, as I call it, sitting on a bench underneath the tree. You're staring at the heavens, the clouds in the sky. It looks like you're doing nothing, but what you're doing is you're feeding your spirit, you're recharging. Because the way the Monet story goes is Monet, he's out there in his backyard, beautiful spring day, weather's perfect, and he's taking this rest on this beautiful bench beneath the tree. And his nosy neighbor pops up over the hedge and he says, hey, Monet, what you doing? Resting? And Monet says, no, I'm working. Neighbor thinks he's crazy. Monet's out there goofing off. He's resting, he's sleeping, whatever, getting work done. not at all. Next day, when Monet comes out, he plants his easel in the grass. He's got his palette and he's furiously and frantically painting. A nosy neighbor pops up over the hedge. Hey, Monet, what you doing? Working? Monet says, no, I'm resting. And here's the funny thing. Monet wasn't just being ornery. I love that word. He was actually getting into a state where he could be inspired. He was lining himself up with divine inspiration. He took that moment to pause and to simply be, to daydream, to see things differently, to percolate, or marinate, to just sit with it so that when the time came, when the floodgates opened, he could step right into alignment and flow and create. So if there's something that you've been frustrated by, that you haven't been able to make progress with, you're like, I'm trying everything, no matter how I push, no matter how I force, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Don't worry, something bigger is happening. You're getting lined up to be in the right place at the right time. If you ever saw that movie, was it in I don't know if it was Inception. There's two movies I always get mixed up, but it was The Adjustment Bureau. Thank you, angels. And I think Matt Damon and Emily Blunt were in it. And you have like these men in black who line people up so that they can meet at the right time in the right place. And, oh, wait, this meeting can't happen, or that accident can't happen. Sometimes I really feel like we have our angels watching over us to help us cross paths with certain people, whether it's in the grocery store, at the coffee shop. It's like, oh, I don't know why I went out for coffee today. I don't normally ever go out and buy coffee, but I just was inspired in spirit to go out and get a cup of coffee. And I ran into an old long lost friend. Holy cannoli. So, I feel like we have angels who are nudging us, but if we go too soon, we might miss the person, right? How many movies have been made about those types of situations? I get goosebumps. So yeah, just to be aware, maybe what's happening, because we have free will, remember, God and the universe are trying to line up other pieces on the chessboard so that the dreams and wishes and hopes that you have can come into being. But if we go too soon because our ego's like, I want it now, I gotta have it now, I can make this happen. Take a deep breath. This adventure of life is a balance between effort and surrender, between doing and being. And there are times where, we can really step into the effort. I got this, I can do this. But I want to invite you to think of manifesting as a dance of co-creation with the divine. So whether you're going into law of attraction and you're trying to magnetize stuff to you and draw it in and create the experience, or whether you're trying to just go out there and do, it's really a balance between both. We say our prayers, we set our intentions, we pause, we listen, we take action, and then we pause, we listen, and we take action. The yogis call it spanda, S-P-A-N-D-A, which represents expansion and contraction. So the universe expands and contracts. So there are moments where we expand, and go big, and moments where we contract. And that's a great segue into one of the big events happening this week, which is the Sun and Jupiter meeting up in the heavens above. Let's talk about that, because it can be an incredible day for good luck and good fortune. It's ultimately a day about growth, expansion, and going big. And by the way, if we haven't met, my name is Irina Miller. I'm an astrologer, an energy alchemist, a spiritual life guide, and it is my joy to bring these sacred practices that I've been playing with for many decades, since the 90s, I won't count, to bring to you so that you can experience them. I like to make specific little energy recipes for the curious empath and the highly sensitive person so that you can navigate this world with greater ease and more joy and not feel like it's just coming down on you. All right, without further ado, let's talk about some of these big things happening this week ahead. Of course, I briefly touched on moon void, of course, which happens from pretty much right now until tomorrow, a little after 11 a.m. Eastern. So I'll let you do the time math adjustment for where you are in the world. And, if there are big things that you're trying to get accomplished, just take a breath and do what you can. The common phrase for a moon void, of course, is nothing will come of it. So maybe you want to do things that you want nothing to come of it. Like if you were late on paying a bill, or you still have to put in for taxes and all this stuff, or, you have to call someone and you're worried about them getting upset or big emotions, or you need to make an appointment with someone that you really don't want to have an appointment with. Do those kinds of things now, because nothing will come of it. Meaning like, oh, it'll be no big deal, laid back. But if you can bring in more journaling, meditating, resting, Monday to Tuesday of this week, at least Tuesday morning, and you're going to find that it makes things a lot easier. Then as we're moving forward, what I want to do is just highlight some of the bigger aspects of this week ahead. And I'm going to just go back to my notes because I don't want to do this from memory, just in case I skip something. Tuesday, and let's see if I can, oh no, I won't find my notes there. Hold on one second. I got my notes all over the place. Here, I'm just going to go to my little cheat sheet. I've got my wonderful calendar I print each week. So Tuesday, the big thing, that's when the sun meets up with Jupiter. Aha! I'm giggling because I'm like, okay, something big is happening. Let's just briefly touch on that. Did I say moon? I meant sun. So cancel or delete that. So Tuesday, the sun meets up with Jupiter in the heavens above. Now, as Jupiter has been coming in to have this deeper conversation with the sun, getting closer to it in the heavens, it has been slowly releasing itself in the sense of it's letting go of the old, it's coming to the end of a cycle. When the planets come back to the sun, as they get closer to the beams of the sunshine, so to speak, it's like a death almost. It's this transformation. It's saying, okay, there are parts of ourself that we're going to start to release. Jupiter can represent our beliefs. It can represent faith. It can represent places where maybe we wanted to really expand and go big. And as it's coming closer to the sun, we might feel inspiration and shifts around our beliefs, around our faith. There might be something that is ending in those areas for us so that it can be rebuilt. And then as Jupiter gets closer and closer and closer to like the point it does on Tuesday, where it's called Cazimi, so it's within 17 minutes of the sun, that's Astro Geek speak. But all you need to know is it gets so close that it's kind of gone like through the fiery intense of the beams, and it's like shift change into like sitting next to the sun, as if the sun were the king on the throne. The sun represents a Leo energy in the sense of it's traditionally ruled by Leo, like the king. So all of a sudden now Jupiter has a place at the table. It's sitting with the sun at that head table, and it then receives all the blessings and benevolence that the sun shares. And Jupiter is known as a planet of blessings and benevolence. I kind of do a little because I feel like Jupiter, is what Jupiter is going to do. I'll say it this way, is that it's going to expand and grow whatever you connect it with. So if it's good things, it'll expand and grow the good things. And if it's not so good things, it'll expand and grow the not so good things. So think about it again, like the law of attraction rules or manifesting, co-creating. The universe doesn't hear the negatives. So if you say something like, I don't want to be fill in the blank, the universe doesn't hear the don't, it hears the I want to be. So we try our best not to speak in the negative in that sense, but to declare what we want, right, from the positive sense, in the sense of rather than saying what you don't want, it's like, I want to be strong, I want to be fit, I want to be healthy. And then you can see yourself as that I am strong, I am fit, I am healthy. You start to embody the energy of what it would be like to live that kind of life as a strong, healthy, energetic person, even though you may not feel like it completely just yet. And that's a very oversimplified way of speaking of it. But why do I say that? Well, on Tuesday, I want to encourage you to be very mindful of your thoughts. This void, of course, moon, Monday and Tuesday is giving you a chance to kind of clear the slate and to clear the mind, because Mercury is going to be dancing too this week with us, which it represents mind and thought. But clear your mind, tune in like Monet, look for the inspiration so that when you get to Tuesday, not only is your head in the right space, but your attitude is as well. The yogis call that your bhava. So the bhava, the attitude that we bring with something, it's not like the work you do, but it's how you do the work. Think of Mary Poppins, whistle while you were, no, that's mixing my Disney movies. Whistle while you work, that's the Seven Dwarves, I guess. But Mary Poppins always had a little fun magic she added to the chores. So with that being said, welcome in that shift of attitude. So like the energy of the week, the hangman, we're going to change our perspective so that when Jupiter and the sun come to meet and Jupiter is expanding, growing, sun, your identity, who you are, you're growing the identity of yourself of I'm strong, I'm healthy, I'm energetic, instead of the negative side. Hopefully that makes sense because it's very interesting how Jupiter works. Some people, it can be very black and white. Jupiter is amazing. It's a planet of benevolence and blessings and awesome gifts. Yes. And it also grows and expands whatever it touches. I'll leave it at that. I have a little beef with Jupiter in the best possible of ways. Anyway, story for another time. So moving on, after Jupiter meets with the sun, we have the new moon in Cancer. Holy cannoli, happy birthday to all our Cancer friends. If you're Cancer sun sign, definitely pop it in the comments so we can wish you happy birthday. New moon in Cancer, this is a really sweet one because we've got Jupiter with it. And Cancer's about home. It's about family. It's about our roots. It's about creating security. And it's going to happen at 4 degrees Cancer, which if you think of the number 4 in numerology, 4 legs to a chair, 4 legs to a table, it's about creating stability and security. So this new moon in Cancer is offering you the opportunity to go within and say, what do I need to really be focusing on? Because Jupiter's there and it's going to expand it and grow it and give you those blessings and those gifts. But what are you thinking about? What is security? What is stability? What does that look like? This is a really important thing. So I just want to encourage you, focus in on that. Pluto, I'm looking over here at my software. Here's the chart itself. Can you see it? Ooh, that's the new moon. But Pluto is going to be dancing with this new moon. There needs to be some kind of adjustment in the way that something needs to be released. Something needs to be transformed. There's an ending coming to something around the way that stability used to be or security looked like. That's shifting. Mars is part of this dance. And Mars is coming in such a way that, here's how I would say it, we have to let go of that power struggle. Sometimes we might feel like this is what I need for security. This is what I need for stability. This will make everything better. But remember that bhava, that shift that came in and being encouraged with the hangman card, saying, you know what? It's time to realize that something is going on beyond our control. We have to wait for the weather to change. But in the meantime, shift the way you're looking at things. Change your perspective. See it from a different side. The other thing about the hangman card is that sometimes it can represent sacrifice. We might have to let go of something in order for something else to come to be. So my mind is just spinning with different things I know in my own personal life. So take that into account. Okay, moving through the week, the other big highlights. Mercury is going to be having a little conversation with Uranus in the sense of breakthroughs in your thinking. So when I talk about intuition exploding this week, there are opportunities for you to have breakthroughs. Think of like that Adjustment Bureau movie that I was talking about with the hangman card. What if universe, God is trying to line up certain things to get you into the right place at the right time. And Thursday, you start to have these breakthrough experiences where it's like, oh yeah, I should call so-and-so, or maybe I should double check this. Give yourself that moment to follow through on the inklings, those little nudges, those little hints. Mercury moves into Leo later that day. So Mercury is the planet of communication, thought, the way we think. That's why I'm saying there's a reset in thinking, because as it moves into Leo, there's a courage and a confidence that comes in. Like you may find that you don't doubt your intuition as much. I just sat for my 500-hour certification exam for astrology. I did it both with my local teacher. I did it with an internationally recognized organization, awaiting details, and I passed my teachers. But for the international one, we'll see how that turns out. Oh, it was a 6-hour exam. And we had to do multiple choice, short answer, essay kind of thing, interpreting charts. And the incredible thing about it was the 6 hours flew by. I didn't realize there was no potty breaks, no snacks. I got a little bit nervous when I saw that right before the exam. I thought, oh no, don't drink anything. Of course, I had surrounded by drinks. I'm constantly liquefying, because when you do energy work, you have to drink a lot of water to move the energy. Side note. So anyway, I was so thrilled that I was able to do 6 hours at my desk, deep, intense work. It was phenomenal. It was so much fun, but I was fried at the end and it flew by. I never would have known it was 6 hours. That's how you know you're doing something you love. But the reason that I bring that up is because in the interpretation part, I don't know if I answered it the way that they wanted, but if you're ever in something and you're like, I feel confident about my answer, even if the whole world thinks it's wrong, even if somebody else's opinion is different, I feel good about the choices that I made, about the answers that I gave. That's kind of like the Mercury in Leo. There's this confidence. I have confidence in my thoughts and what I'm thinking, in the way that I'm speaking, in the way that I'm answering. So it's going to be fun. If there was a presentation you had to do, if there was something where you had to give your thoughts, communicate, Thursday afternoon, even into, Mercury's going to be there for a while, but you should hopefully feel that switch. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then as we go into Friday, Mercury is going to get help from Saturn in structuring your thoughts, the way that you're thinking. And then into Saturday's energy, Mercury trines Neptune. And here's the thing about that is you might find that intuition coming in more easily again on Saturday. So more downloads. So Monday, Tuesday, journal, meditate, give yourself that opportunity to let the insights come. And then Saturday, here's what I'll even say this way. Saturn came in on Friday. If there's a way, and here's the thing, this is part of the reason why I created the Mastering Intuition program. It really is like getting a master's degree in the different ways of sharpening your intuitive gifts, whether you're clear hearing, clear seeing, clear feeling, clear knowing. So clairvoyant, claircognizant, clairaudience, clairsentience. I don't know if I matched those up properly with the way I said it the first time, but the thing is, when you are looking to develop your intuition, I feel sometimes people are like, well, you're either born with it or you're not. Well, we're all born with intuition. It's just a matter of, we get talked out of it essentially when we're younger. Think back to when you were younger, you might have had a feeling or a knowing about something and you brought it up to the adults. It spooked them and they're like, oh, no. You're exaggerating. There's nothing under the bed. That person is a nice person. Stop taking everything stop being so sensitive and taking things so personally. Got to develop a thicker skin. Just push yourself. Get out there. Do it. Eat the frog. Do the hard thing. All right. Well, to a highly sensitive person or an empath, that's just the worst. So you start to try to dull your intuition just to survive in this world. And it's a survival technique, and it's what we have to do to get through in the moment. But what happens is we forget how to access those intuitive gifts, and we forget how to trust them. So there are techniques, there's skills, there's frameworks, there's formulas that we can follow to strengthen our intuition muscles, as well as really become confident in trusting the feelings, the gut feelings we're getting, and not second guess or doubt ourselves. So why do I bring that all up? Well, Friday is a great opportunity with Mercury and Saturn to say, you know what, I'm going to use some of these skills in order to really know and trust the information coming in on Saturday. So just as a little quick tip to give you to kind of go off and running with this, how do I know it's intuition? This is a great little formula or skill or kind of structure, a Saturn type thing to help you say, what I'm picking up on Saturday, I'm gonna trust it. I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna take action. And so this is the formula for how do I know this is really intuition and I'm not making it up in my head? Well, the first thing is that intuition comes in a quiet voice. It's really soft spoken. It's not going to yell. It's not going to be thunderbolts and lightning and burning bushes. It could be, but more often than not, it's so subtle. It's like, psst, check your email. Psst, maybe somebody mailed you something in email. Psst. Okay? It's soft. Even if the world is really falling apart and you're in danger, it'll be, psst, check it out. How do I know that? I've experienced it multiple times. Because here it leads into the second little principle of intuition. It's love-based. It's not trying to get you to act out of fear, like, oh my God, your world is falling apart and you're getting attacked and hacked. Go check your email. They're trying to warn you. People are trying to log in. It's, hey, why don't you check your email? It's love-based because the universe loves you, and God, universe, whatever you want to call that higher power by, is saying, take action. But they're not going to try to get you to act out of fear. It's going to be love. It's love-based. And then third thing, it's consistent. It's not going to change. It's not going to be like, check your email. Go to the grocery store. Go see a movie. It's going to be, no, go check your email. They might try to say it in a ton of different ways to get you to go and move, but it's basically going to be a consistent message. Do this thing. And that's how you know. That's one of the formulas you can use to say, am I making this up? Or is this really intuition? Is this, psychic data that I can trust coming in? Because it's a spectrum when we're working with intuition, really. There are things that we absolutely know to be true for us in our world. Maybe that's the sky is blue. This tree has green leaves. We know it. It's a fact. Then there are things that we infer. We have enough facts and data about it that we can say, well, based on this information and my life experience, I can infer, even though I don't have all of the data, that this is what I know to be true. Then there's intuition. And intuition is kind of in the middle because intuition is between facts and raw psychic data. So raw psychic data, sometimes I think of that, again, as a highly sensitive person or as an empath. We're overwhelmed with all the information and data coming in. We hear noises, we get feelings, we smell smells, we have physical sensations, and it's all so much we get overstimulated. And it's like, I can't live. I just need to hide away in the mountains. I can't do this. Calgon, take me away. Remember that old commercial? It's overwhelming. So developing the skill sets, fine-tuning those energetic muscles and intuitive muscles, we can then start to parse the data. We can begin to trust it. It's not just like this flood of water or information overwhelm coming in. We have filters for it, and we have kind of like checkpoints, checks and balances, so that when it gets to intuition, we're like, okay, all right, I'm picking up something kind of off about this person. I don't quite know what it is. But I'm going to trust. I'm going to kind of open myself up and start to read, right? Energetically kind of look. And this is where knowing your intuitive gifts becomes really helpful. Anyway, I'm really going into a lot of data here and detail, but I want you to know that all of you have access to intuition. Everyone watching. It's just a matter of where are we going to kind of access it on that spectrum? Because many times in this world, we've had to close down. We've had to go to the point where it hasn't been safe for the data to come in because we just don't know how to use it. People have told us we're crazy, or they've, done whatever. You're making it up in your head. No, they're fine. Everything's okay. They're like, what? No. But we didn't quite know how to articulate or to understand. Maybe we didn't have frame of reference. So anyway, that's why I have my whole Mastering Intuition program. If you want to see what it's about, something's telling me just to share it, that the doors aren't necessarily open right now. But if you want to see what it's about, you can go to irenamiller.co/EA, and you can see kind of the breakdown. I have 4 specific pillars in the way that I teach this, all to help support you in mastering your intuition and really stepping into this life using your gifts and talents that you were born with, but the world kind of took away because they just didn't know what to do with it. So anyway, all right. So with that being said, Julie said it's an amazing program. Thanks for saying that. Julie's one of the graduates, wonderful energy alchemist, really incredible. Hello, Jasmine. Great to have you. And hello, Taro with Dreama Lynn. Beautiful name. All right, let's jump in to the rest of the things happening this week. We're just going to jump into the moon. We'll say that. Okay, so Monday moon kicks off in Gemini, which means a lot of talking. Can you tell? I'm awfully chatty today. Talk. It's a sign of air, the element of air. And you might have a curiosity. Think of Alice in Wonderland, curiouser and curiouser. Follow the rabbit today. Today would be a great Alice in Wonderland kind of day. I'm going to go on it. No, I was going to say I'm going to go on a trip. Cancel, clear, delete that. I've never done any kind of drugs or any of that stuff, but like an adventure. I'm very playful and very cheeky. So be safe, have an adventure, stay grounded. Sometimes when we take certain substances, there's a difficulty in staying grounded. Conversation for another time. Let's pull a card for Monday before I get myself into trouble. Holy cannoli. And ask, how can you make the most of Monday's energy? Ooh, 10 of Pentacles, and it's upside down. This is very interesting as we go into the new moon, because the new moon is really symbolizing this card of, family, security, safety, prosperity, everything's okay. But it is upside down. So it's saying, what is blocking you from prosperity, from feeling safe, from having that time with your family? What, that old phrase popped into my head. What is in the way is the way. So give yourself a moment to know Monday, you don't have to force things. Just take a moment and say, what is happening that might be blocking me from experiencing stability, safety, love with my family, that connection? Very interesting. And Tarot with Dreamaland. Thank you. My grandmother got the name from an old romance novel. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's just beautiful. I keep wanting to say Drama because my aunt has a yoga teacher by the name of Drama. And I just love that. I thought that was so fantastic with Dreama. Yeah, Dreamaland. Oh, that's just so gorgeous. Okay, Tuesday moon still in Gemini. So if your mind is racing, you have a lot of thoughts, if you can't sleep, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, it's ruled by all those thoughts. Mercury's getting ready to shift into a brand new sign. So it might be hard to stop the spinning wheel. Take one hand to your forehead and one to the back, and just take a few deep breaths. This comes from the energy medicine routines and system from Donna Eden. And you just take 5 deep breaths. You can also, if the mind is really racing, take one palm just to the front of the head and draw down a little bit. And you just have a downward pressure. So that downward pressure will calm the racing thoughts. It's a nice little tip. Okay, breath work can help as well, but let's just ask, how can you make the most of this energy on Tuesday? 5 of Cups. It's a day of letting go and a day of healing the heart. So when you have the 5 of Cups, anytime there's a 5, it's a point of friction or like a fulcrum. So if you think of it like the teeter-totter, you're right there on the fulcrum. Are you going to go back? Are you going to go forward? And it kind of depends on the actions. And 5 of Cups is saying, let go. Let go of the pain. Let go of the hurt. It's time to heal the heart. So if there's sadness, if there's disappointment around, especially I'm going to say security, family, because we're going into that new moon in Cancer. The sun sign of Cancer, or just I should say zodiac sign of Cancer, is about home, family, mother, security, your foundation. And if there's a sadness around, well, it didn't quite work out the way that I'd hoped or that I thought, do some healing practices on Tuesday to heal your heart, to prepare for that new moon, because new moons are about setting intentions. They're about building into something new. And if we're bringing the old hurts and worries, the baggage with us, it can shadow the new moon intention. So to do that healing work, we're in the balsamic phase of the moon, which is a very quiet, introspective, highly intuitive time. And Dreamalyn, you said, oh, you're welcome for the tip. And Gemini sun and moon. Oh, very cool. You must have a very creative mind. I love it. Oh, Gemini is wonderful. That I have a wonderful gal in my life who is triple Gemini, and lots of great conversations and lots of so I think like talk. Did you ever see South Pacific? And they do that. Happy talking, happy talk about things we like to do. I'm all off key. But anyway, on we go. Wednesday, new moon in Cancer. And we've spoken a bit about that. So let me just ask, how can we make the most of the energy on new moon Wednesday? Celebrate the wins. Sometimes when we've had disappointments in life or things didn't work out the way we wanted, or we've gotten frustrated, we might be just focusing on the big picture. Like the big picture might have been complete the marathon, get the project done by this point. And we forget the tiny everyday wins. This card is saying, take a moment to stop and celebrate the wins, like some of the wins that you're just writing off because they're not the end goal or the finish goal. And I kind of chuckle because I'm thinking about that exam I took on Saturday, which was really, really hard, as it should be, because when I pass it, fingers crossed, right? Saying that in the positive, right? Because I will pass it at some point, ideally first try. I will feel so good because it was really, 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 really hard. And I will feel very confident that I have gotten that stamp of approval by this wonderful astrological body of this organization that says, you know what? You know your stuff. You really do. Congratulations. But in the meantime, as I wait for the results, I can celebrate that win of I was here for 6 hours in front of my computer, video screen on, no potty breaks, no food, right? That sounds silly, but if you knew my chart, you'd be like, oh, it's really good. Because I literally, with the amount of water I drink, I'm in the bathroom like every half hour. It's crazy. But this is saying celebrate the wins. It might not be the end goal, but celebrate what you have accomplished. Okay. Thursday, the moon is still going to be in Cancer. I just have my little calendar with me, make sure I'm not going off the rails. And Thursday with the moon in Cancer, here's the other thing about a Cancer moon. You might feel extra sensitive and extra emotional. So do create security. There's something called Do Your Moon. And hey, by the way, if you want more support for the new moon, irenamiller.co/club is our moon club. And for my moon club members, we will have a new moon ceremony and sacred ritual and gathering tomorrow at noon. You can gain all sorts of tips on how to navigate this world using the moon. Check out Moon Club. But new moons in Cancer moons in Cancer are sensitive, emotional. They feel to great, incredible depths. So if you're feeling extra sensitive, take time to, when I say do a Cancer moon, it means access the activities, the events that would help you feel safer, that help you feel loved. Maybe cuddle with family or fur babies, watch a good feel-good movie, cuddle up at home. You may not want to go out, and that's perfectly fine. Okay. Thursday, the moon moves from Cancer into Leo early in the wee hours of the morning. So Leo moon did I say that? Friday. Leo moon on Friday. Okay, so we got a lot of Leo energy coming in. How can you make the most of that moon? King of Swords. This is focus on the big picture. It was interesting because there was a phrase that popped into my mind and just popped out from Franklin Covey in the seven principles of highly successful people. Continually sharpening the saw was one. Oh, keep the end in mind. I think that's the one that was popping into my head, or begin with the end in mind. Excellent. Thank you, angels. So this card is kind of one of those, begin with the end in mind. Where are you going? What do you want to accomplish? So we've set the new moon intention with Wednesday. And it might be around something that has to do with family, home, security, safety. And as you're getting ready to step into that adventure of your intention, it says begin with the end in mind. What is your big goal? Where are you going? Let's start from let's work backwards kind of thing and build all of the steps and actions that need to be taken. It reminds me, like in art class in high school, it was always fun. And most of us, we wanted to rush right into the project or the assignment. And the teacher would say, draw a sketch first. No one wanted to do a sketch. We're like, we know what we want to do. We just want to do it. This seems so fun. Let's just do it. And she's like, no, you need to draw a sketch. And there's a great benefit that comes from just sketch it out. Like just come out with a rough idea. Where you want to go? Here's your end. Let's just sketch out like the details instead of just jumping right into it and trying to make it happen. Trying to listen to myself. I need to listen to myself. What's been being channeled. I like this stuff. Okay, Saturday. Moon still in Leo. This is when Mercury is trining Neptune. Here's the other thing I'm going to say is watch for the fear mongers. Neptune can be an energy of deception or fear or illusion or dissolving things. It can be an incredibly on a high vibration. It's very spiritual, psychic, intuitive. But in order to access that higher vibrational state of Neptune, you want to make sure that you're not just focusing and letting the fear and the worry kick in. So if you're finding yourself on Saturday, worries and fear kind of nibbling at the edges, I want to invite you ground. And I'm sharing a lot of different things today. This is a free gift that I have for everyone. irinamiller.co/get calm. Some of you already have it. This is the root flush fill. It's one way to ground, many different practices for grounding. It's a 2-minute audio you can listen to. Just go to that link, irinamiller.co/get calm. You can download it there. But the thing about it is if the fear is setting in, if the worries are setting in, ground. Take a moment to say, once you're grounded, is this really something that like angels, guides, is this something I really need to pay attention to and act on? How much of this fear belongs to me versus someone else? Like, is this really a valid fear? So this is where you'd be using those skills and those structures of how to parse the data coming in. Because all that psychic raw data coming in, not all of it's beneficial. It's not all light and love. And if anybody is out there saying, it's all light and love, it's all happiness and rainbows and unicorns, I take a deep breath and a step back and ground and ask your angels to be able to see clearly. Because there's stuff out there that doesn't have your highest and best interest in mind, whether it's physical or subtle energy that you can't see. Ground. We need to check our sources. Where am I getting this information from? That's why, to me, education, like within this field, education in general, is so important. My Saturn's in Leo in the 9th house. I get a little stuffy about this. But what that means is I value education. Like what I'm sharing with you, I have spent decades learning, certifying in, initiating, spending, my husband listens to this, spending a lot of money so that I can learn from the greatest teachers, to be able to sit at their feet and then to be able to take it in, to digest it, to see, does this really work? Does it work for my clients? Does it work for me? To test these ideas and these principles so that when I share them with you, these are things that I can feel really confident and secure about, like this works. And as we continue to evolve as spiritual beings having this human experience, these practices will evolve. We learn more about ourselves. We learn more about this, and we're continuing to evolve. So knowing these sacred practices can help you parse this data coming in and saying, wait a second, this fear that's coming in, is it mine? Is it someone else's? Ground. Neptune is an incredible planet. All of the planets are, but they all have, everything in life has a high vibrational state and a low vibrational state, right? We can be incredible people, and we can also be maybe not so great at times, So just take a deep breath. We do our best in every moment we can. I'm going to ask, how can you make the most of Saturday's energy? We'll see who pops up. Page of Wands, and she's reversed. So anytime a card is reversed, let me get this off the screen. It just simply means that we're having trouble accessing that energy. Something's either blocking it, or it can be a little nuanced or a little subtle sometimes, the energy and how it's not showing up. The Page of Wands is a card about letting your hair down and having fun, about being able to enjoy yourself. And she's got the wand, she's throwing it up in the air. There's a circle there. Circle can represent your soul. It can represent healing. It can represent community. So this is a symbolism, stuff I go into. Again, right? So these are all those subtle nuances. This is a part of the Mastering Intuition program. It's a part of learning the skills and the systems in order to interpret the intuitive guidance that's coming through day in, day out. Because it's just about learning how to speak this new language of intuition. I love languages. So the circle, it's saying there's an opportunity for healing, for coming together in community, friendship, family. There's a soul healing available here, but something's blocking it. What's blocking it? What's blocking it? King of Pentacles. Isn't that interesting? Might be a certain person in your life, like a father figure. It might be a concern or a worry over the future. Is it going to be secure? Am I going to have enough money, stability? We all live our life and experience it differently. And there's definitely no one size fits all. Listening to a great podcast with this nutritionist, this professor, and they're like, what's the best diet? What's the best way to eat healthy? And he's like, it's kind of different strokes for different folks. It really depends on the person and the individual. There's so many layers to it. Yes, there are some basic principles, like the Michael Pollan, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. I love that. And, there are principles we can follow, but within those principles, there's wiggle room. So what it's saying here is what you need for stability and security for the future in order to have that soul healing. It might not necessarily be what the world tells you it needs to be. This is where it can become very helpful to look at your individual natal chart. Like, what were the stars doing on the day that you were born? Because I know for me, when it comes to security and finances, I always think of like Bon Jovi, like that song Living on a Prayer. There's this sense of, at times also, like believing in miracles, like everything's going to work out. Good things are coming my way. And King of Pentacles is like, all right, it's great that you believe good things are coming your way, but we need some details. We need to be cautious. We need to take our time. We need to be practical and grounded and earthy. And, to say that to someone who's like, no, it's going to work out. I have a feeling. I just know it in my bones. So find the right system for you to feel safe and stable, to be cautious, but at the same time to know I can have some fun. I can let my hair down. There's a soul healing opportunity. Okay. And then finally, Sunday's energy. Boy, you can tell the moon's in Gemini. I'm so chatty. We're going really long. So thank you all for hanging on with me so long. You are amazing, amazing, amazing. Sunday, Mercury is opposing Pluto. So there is this balance between, there needs to be, what we're thinking and where something is ending, or power struggle. And like, it has to be this way. And it's like, no, we're going to do the new way. Going to find that sweet spot or a sweet point. Oh my goodness, mixing my words. Moon's still in Leo. And with the moon in Leo, I don't know if I talked about this a lot with the Saturday moon in Leo, it is about being able to be playful, to have some fun. And that's important. I shuffled the cards, but that beautiful Page of Wands who came out upside down, she wants to just have fun. And then you've got King of Pentacles who's like, no, you got to do your work. You need to be practical and cautious. Don't just go out there and be silly. Find the balance between that. Between being practical or grounded, but being able to also have the fun. Okay, Sunday, what's most important that you need to know? Okay, this is one of those cards I was like, ouch, again, just like everything has a high vibration and a low vibration, whether it's astrology or tarot, Same kind of thing here. This is one of those cards that can look scary, but it's saying any heartaches, any heartbreaks that come through on Sunday, take a moment to just honor them. Sometimes the sadness hits. Sometimes there's something that we have to be able to mourn. Grief and sadness are not a bad thing. All the emotions have their place. And Elizabeth Gilbert writes, I think it was in Big Magic, she had this beautiful visualization that I loved. And it's kind of like you and all your emotions in a car, and you're driving, and you're in the driver's seat, ideally. You're driving the car. And your emotions are kind of sitting in there with you. And they might want to pop up at different times. Like sadness might want to sit with you and, be co-pilot, or anger or joy. They all have their place. But it's important to just take a moment, and like the John Denver song, sometimes you feel like a sad song. Honor that sadness. And I just want to ask, tell me more about that. Is when we get a card like that. There are things we're still holding on to, right? Give yourself time to grieve what once was, to know that things might be different now. That's okay. It doesn't mean it has to be bad or worse, but things change and shift. And I'll give a personal example. Thank you everyone so much for all of your beautiful well wishes and the love and support around my dad. It's been like a week and a half or so, but he had a stroke. And so life is forever changed now. It's very, very different. We're bringing him home on Wednesday. I'm so excited. And that brings such joy because we'll have him back. And we're regaining, I want to say it like this, connection to the right side of his body so he can activate it and use it in a very beautiful way. Still has his muscles there. So I don't like saying regain the strength there. He's got strength there. It's just a matter of his brain saying, okay, activate that side. How do I access fingers, leg, toes? But coming home, like even last night as I was sleeping, I kept waking up and I kept thinking, oh, things are going to be different. He always helped me set up for the psychic fair here in Cincinnati, or the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo. And, help me hang my little banner and set up my booth. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like if he doesn't help me in the same way this coming year, happens in the fall and the spring, like just grieving how things change and shift. It's going to be different. And if I try to hold on to like, well, this is the way we always did it, and this is the way Dad was, and I was, and my brother, and life and home, it's going to be hard to move forward. So watch what you're holding on to. Allow yourself to open to the new possibilities and potentials and ways of doing things. That's what that Hangman card was telling us. Just, life changes, things get different, but it doesn't mean we can't find our joy, even in the midst of intense grief and harsh realities. There's a lot to be said. And this is the last thing I'll kind of wrap with. You are strong. You have friends in high places. That's your angels, your guides, God. Call on them. You're not alone. It's like you don't have to do it all on your own, right? That effort versus surrender. Okay, God, like, what do I do now? I'm out of ideas. I'm out of tricks. You don't have to figure it all out on your own, right? So have an incredible, incredible week. Know that you have friends in high places. Remember to trust your vibes, follow your heart, and I will see you all here next week. Thank you for being here with me live. So good to see you, Julie. So good to see you, Tarot, or I should say Dreamalyn. And thank you all for those who were able to stick with me for so long. Mwah! Much love. I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye, guys.